Good afternoon. Welcome back to Football League World TV. It's time for the latest edition of the debate, and here we're looking at three League One players that have surprised us, either for a good reason or for a bad reason this season. I'm your host, Dagless, this afternoon, and joining me is Billy Mulley. Billy, how you getting on?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Looking forward to getting into some of the better players and a couple. Well, one that hasn't fulfilled his potential. One that I'm not too sure on, but yeah, I'm sure that it's going to bring up a good discussion.
Good stuff. We're across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are live for the next 15, 20 minutes here on the debate. Let us know, League One fans, who surprised you this season in a positive manner or in a negative manner. Let's get going with the show. Billy, speaking to you before we came on, sound like you've got two positives and one negative. So maybe if we go with one positive, one negative, and then finish with another positive. So we'll start with a player that surprised you in a good way so far in League One. Who is it and why?
I'll start with Callum Lang. I think there was glimpses of his quality at the end of last season, coming back into the side at the sort of start of 2021, and proven that he can make the step up to regular League One contention. But yeah, I thought it would be a steady progress. Have a good enough season this year, but I think he surpassed all expectations on that front. Really, really exciting player on the ball. Someone that when he gets on the ball, he brings excitement to Wigan fans. There's anticipation that he's going to do something with it, and I think that's always a good indication to a good player at this level. But yeah, he's not confined to that. He's someone that he presses very well. He works tirelessly out of possession in terms of his intelligence. He knows where to be at the right time, and I think that if Wigan don't go up this year, then they'll have a real struggle trying to keep him, because he ticks a lot of boxes at Championship level too, and the fact that he's been able to adapt and then take this season to a new level, I think that's a really positive sign for Wigan, and it makes this running quite well, not simple for them, but it makes it they'll be confident because they've got outlets like him to go through and scoring the necessary goals and providing the necessary assists to continue and keep going up the division like they have been all season.
He's a player that's been sort of on the radar in the EFL for quite a while, hasn't he? Had good loans at the likes of Morecambe and Oldham. They've kind of been good places for him to sort of hone his craft a little bit, haven't they? And now he's obviously last couple of seasons really started to hit his stride at Wigan.
Yeah, exactly that. You need good loan spells to progress a player, especially when you're on the younger side of things and trying to break through as a winger. I think that's vitally important, getting the minutes in the EFL and elsewhere too. And he's justified the need to get your young players out on loan to these kind of destinations with 15 goals and 10 assists in 39 games in all competitions. So far this season, I'm sure that he will probably be looking to continue his tally, and at this rate, it would be no surprise to see him hit the 20 goal mark and perhaps even 15 assists, because he's that talented, and he's shown that all season.
You have to, you kind of hinted at it earlier. You have to think that if Wigan don't go up this season, obviously there's quite a good chance that they are going to. But if they don't, he's potentially going to be one of the first names out the door, isn't he? Like you say, he looks very much ready for a step up to the Championship now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because what we seen last year with Keane Lewis-Potter, similar kind of player in terms of exciting young player who has a lot of talent, and someone that readapted to Championship level football very, very well. And I think that should Wigan get promoted and should Lang stay at Wigan, then they've got that to look forward to, because I think he's the kind of player that will show those levels to adapt. And again, yeah, I think a lot rides on what happens in the end of Wigan season, because as you say already, there are clubs already looking at him, and should Wigan not get promoted, I'm sure that the number of clubs would probably increase.
Okay, that's player number one covered. Callum Lang has positively surprised us this season in the third tier. Billy, let's move to your second pick. Is a player that's surprised you, not necessarily for the right reasons, though. Who is it and why?
It's Lewis Wing, and I'm gutted to be saying this because I sung his praises at the start of the season. I think I pretty much labelled him the signing of the season when Sheffield Wednesday managed to secure his signing. And I think going off past performances and going off the reputation he's gained, I think it was an excellent addition, but it just didn't work out at Sheffield Wednesday. He wasn't that kind of figure in front of goal, that composed figure, and the kind of midfielder that we come to expect with some of the goals he scored, and in terms of his general play as well, it wasn't up to the standard that we've seen. You think of what he showed at Rotherham at times, he was probably, wouldn't be surprised if most Rotherham fans would agree that he was their best player at times last season. And even at Middlesbrough, he showed plenty of potential and plenty of ability. It's just really strange that he's gone a division below and it hasn't worked out for him. This time he's got the luxury of having a second stint away from Middlesbrough this season, and that's with Wickham. And I think the early signs are quite positive, and hopefully he can recapture some of that form that he showed last season and in glimpses at Middlesbrough too.
Why don't you think it worked at Sheffield Wednesday in particular, Billy? I mean, at the start of this season for the Owls, there seemed to be a feeling that Darren Moore was taking quite a while to sort of work out what his best team was. They obviously had a lot of injury issues as well. Do you think, just that tinkering and sort of inconsistency at times at Wednesday perhaps didn't help him as he tried to obviously settle in what was new surroundings for him?
Yeah, I think it's a culmination of factors, really. As you say, injuries didn't help. He didn't really have a settled team around him when he was playing. He did. I think also competition levels were naturally very high when you've got Barry Bannon in a side. He did spend a bit of time on the sidelines, but George Byers as well, some really good central midfield options. So I feel that not all the blame can go on him. It's external factors, I think, have not really helped his situation at Sheffield Wednesday. And I still believe he's a top player that can cut it at championship level. I don't think one loan spell where it hasn't happened can really define him as a player. It's just showing his form at Wickham now. He's been presented with a really good opportunity for another playoff chaser, and the fact that he has secured another move to a playoff chaser again suggests the kind of talent he does have, even if he hasn't shown it all season.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of underlines the ability he has, even if his form's perhaps not been there. He scored a couple of goals, didn't he, at the weekend against Crewe? Gets him off the mark for the Chairboys. Potentially Gareth Ainsworth is the sort of manager that could help him rekindle that form as well.
Yeah, I think Gareth Ainsworth comes across as the manager that puts his arm around a player's shoulder and helps them as an individual get back to their very best. And Ainsworth has proven over the years what an incredible manager he can be on a limited budget, and having I don't know if I call him a star player, but having a player of his ability is something that can really bolster their playoff chances. I think it comes to the crunch end of the season when we start to look at different teams and what they have over their playoff chasing counterparts. And Lewis Wing definitely at Wickham is someone that will give them an advantage. And as we've seen already, a couple of goals, good performances as well. In terms of his rhythm, it seems that that's coming back. And in terms of the desire and grit, it all seems to be pointing in one direction. And yeah, as we've seen, two very well taken goals. And I'm sure that won't be the last because, as I said before, he's got so much ability at League One level. And I'm sure once this season's over, I think we'll look back and say, yes, it was just a dodgy spell at Sheffield Wednesday, and that's all it was.
Wickham will certainly be hoping, so they'll be hoping Lewis Wing can get a few more goals between now and the end of the campaign. One final player to talk about, Billy, here on the debate. We've spoken now about one that surprised you in a good way and one that surprised you in a bad way so far in the third tier. One final player, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's someone again that surprised you in a good way. Who is it and why?
Yeah, I found this one very difficult. I found the first two quite easy to select. They're two players I think that could be on quite a lot of people's list, but then this final one was very difficult. I ended up going for Ross Stewart. At the end of last season, at the start of this season, Charlie White left, and it appeared to leave a massive void. And given the fact that Ross Stewart hadn't really played too much football for Sunderland, and the fact that Wyke was a very good player at what he does at scoring goals and in terms of linking up the play and his hold up play as well, definitely didn't look too good for Sunderland, especially when considering they didn't really sign a replacement when Wyke left. And the fact that he's returned 22 goals and 36 appearances at a club with expectation levels through the roof, I think just speaks volumes of his ability, his character, and everything in between, really, because he's shown in abundance what he can do in terms of his abilities, in terms of the holding up and linking the play as well. He's someone that I wouldn't say learned off Wyke, but has those abilities in his locker too. Goal scoring ability. I think I was watching their game against Wickham, and his ability to find the back of the net in situations where you don't expect someone to find the net is quite incredible, really. And he's definitely a player that could bridge the gap up to championship level as well. And you really wouldn't have thought that when Sunderland were sitting looking at Wyke's departure and thinking who is going to step up and be our regular goal scorer this season.
Do you think he gets enough credit, Billy, for the job he's done? Sunderland losing Charlie Wyke at the start of the season, some almost suggested that was potentially Sunderland's promotion credentials out the window. Potentially they are now going to fall short of the top two, but they're still firmly in the playoff mix at the very least. And Stewart's just kind of taken on the mantle, hasn't he?
Yeah, as you say, he probably doesn't get enough credit from wider EFL fans. 22 goals for a Sunderland striker is something that you expect, given the nature of Sunderland and given the status of the club as well. But he's had to really work to consistently score goals. It's not like he's consistently presented with chances as well as likes of Leon Dajaku and Alex Pritchard have done. It's not like a Fulham in the Championship where Mitrovic has been helped massively by the amount of chances he's presented with. I think a lot of the goals that Ross Stewart scored this season, he's had to work very hard to get. And yeah, as you say, I think a lot of credit does have to go to the individual himself, because he's taken on this role and really thrived in it.
Nicknamed the Loch Ness Drogba by Sunderland fans this year, is probably one of the best nicknames in the EFL and just in the wider footballing sphere as well. I think that's probably fair to say, Billy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think any connotation, any link to a player as good as Drogba, he's going to be a quality nickname. And yeah, I don't think he's disappointed in that respect. And as I was saying before, there was a couple of players that he just about pipped, and Oladapo Afolayan, and one that I'm sure Bolton fans will be screaming through their screens that I hadn't mentioned, given that 1 goal and 2 assists in League Two last year in 21 games, and this season he's managed to step up massively to the new division and to a role where he's had to produce the goals and assists. And I think it's incredible what he has done. 11 goals and 5 assists this season, constant threat down the left wing. I think that he could be key in what remains this season for Bolton. Another player, Wes Burns. I've been really impressed with him this season, given the caliber of signings that they did make. Wes Burns sort of went under the radar coming from Fleetwood, but he's been that one that's been consistent through their inconsistencies. And again, another player I think will have a big role to play in Ipswich's promotion push. I feel in the similar kind of category to Callum Lang. If Ipswich don't get promoted this season, then Championship clubs should be circling around him. He's really is an exciting player, bags of pace, but also the end product to go with it. So Ross Stewart just about pips those two.
I think all of them have been fair calls, to be fair, Billy. But Ross Stewart, rounding off this afternoon's edition of the debate, looking at 3 League One players that have surprised us this season. One other show to tell you about coming up on Football League One TV today. That's at 4:00, the EFL midweek preview. Given the cancellations over Christmas thanks to COVID. There's plenty of games, relentless schedule at the moment, every few days. So plenty of games coming up in the Championship, League One and League Two over the next couple of nights. Sam Rourke hosting the show at 4 p.m. He's joined by Marcus Alley and Chris Gallagher. Billy, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Great to get your thoughts on some of the surprise packages in League One, for better or for worse. And those watching, do subscribe to YouTube. Our YouTube channel if you can, Football League World TV. I do like this video as well. That'd be greatly appreciated by all of us here. But from myself and Billy, it's bye for now.